Welcome back to Straight Facts on Friday. I'm joined by Don Husam. Apologies for being a little bit late. Husam had a legitimate reason. He was off praying. I then forgot to send the link, but I had some bad family news. Our pet, he's 14 years old, bless him. Little Alfie, our Staffordshire Bull Terrier, passed away today. So my dad was ringing me to tell me, and I got a little bit sidetracked. So I'm sorry I'm late. Rest in peace, Alfie. Great little dog. But Husam, how are you, my friend? You well?
I'm good. Sorry to hear that news as well. And look, we're here Friday. Big up the Terrace audience. Make sure you guys are liking. Make sure you guys are subscribing. And yeah, big up to you guys on the chat. Let's get this party started.
I mean, I'm going to get this party started. I want to speak about a really interesting, I wouldn't necessarily call it a story because it's a series of tweets that have come from a very credible journalist, Nick Harris, regarding the situation with Manchester City. And he starts his thread off yesterday by simply stating that lots of commentary has passed in the last 36 hours since the PSR rules against Everton and Newcastle, Nottingham Forest have appeared. And he goes on to speak about the differences between the two cases. But he rattles off a series in these emails, which we can see here, that simply state that City have spent millions in this process trying to stall the process as much as they can. He says that Man City supposedly have a mountain of irrefutable evidence of their innocence, and they say it's ready to go, yet they don't say bring it on and let's get this sorted for everybody's benefit. He says they could have cooperated for almost six years ago when the Premier League first started investigating them, and they didn't. That is their prerogative. It's not great for optics, but they don't care about optics. It goes on to state that some City fans go to extremes to convince themselves there's no case against City, despite having been fined 90 million euros, later reduced to 30 million euros, for major breaches in financial rules and dishonesty and non-cooperation before the 115 charges. He says, I've reported on City my whole life. I knew and know people inside the club at all levels. I've been to Khaldoon's guest in his director's suite, albeit before I called them out. I have multiple sources who have told me what really happened. Manchester City's hierarchy realized around 2010 that they needed accelerated investment before UEFA's FFP came into force. Their solution was cooking the books. That was evident from their 2014 punishment onward. It's all in plain sight. And then more chillingly, I suppose, than this, he continues and he reveals an email. He reveals an email that everybody can see here. That it was written by a gentleman called Simon Cliff, who was City Football Group's general counsel. This was written in April 2014 to a leadership group internally. And he was asked to respond about an inquiry about Brahim Diaz, who was then 14 and potentially having moved illegally to Manchester City. And in this email, he essentially says that they've done this before. They have to move carefully. There's a way in which they can do this if they're able to find work for his parents that are non-related. But he goes on to say, what does the journalist know about Brahim in here? Does he know the journalist is here when he shouldn't be? We have had him train on training forms, which we are allowed to do. But as we have discussed before, we need to decide what to do with him longer term until he is 16. Having him at our academy permanently until then is a big risk in my view. Also, when he is 16, he can join. So he can only join at 16 if his parents have non-football reasons. This is the scariest bit. He says, we have done this successfully before, but again, we must be careful on how this is executed. And he goes on in his thread to say, notable that Simon Cliff notes the kid can only join at 16. He was 14 when the email was written. If his parents moved to Manchester for non-footballing reasons. But guess what? He and his family were already in Manchester by February 2014, arranged by Manchester City. So he is coming out here and claiming, although this email was written, he was in the academy illegally at 14 years of age when he should not have been. And these are more leaks that have come out, more leaked official emails from Manchester City that prove of huge wrongdoing at the football club. Well, the journalist states that it proves wrongdoing. This journalist has also gone on to say that he's got far more of this, more stories are going to follow, and this is just essentially, and I'm paraphrasing this, but the tip of the iceberg to what's been going on at Manchester City. What's your reaction to this?
You know, Terry, the reason why when I speak on Manchester City, I really irritate Manchester City fans, and the rest of the Premier League fans agree with me. Spurs fans, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, United fans, whoever it is listening, 90%, 99% of them agree with me, because I only say what's on everyone's mind. Everyone in the chat, like, I represent their opinion on Manchester City because they all know the truth. We all know deep down, you're all sat back. If you were to judge this, everything Terry just showed you on the screen, and if you were to judge this whole City situation, you all know Man City cheated their way to the top. There is no need for us to sit up here and create this false narrative in everyone's mind. We like, deep down, if you were just judging this and it's not like public opinion or anything, you know that City were guilty. And this right here is an example, and I've given multiple common sense, logical examples based on whether it be sponsorships, whether it be based on multiple different things. And that's why City fans go on this vehement defense, as he even mentioned in his tweets, where they have convinced themselves that City really are innocent, where they've convinced themselves that Manchester City are the only club in world football to make money during COVID, where they've convinced themselves that they've done everything the right way. We all know Manchester City does not make nowhere near as much money if it wasn't for sponsorships, that are kind of owned by the same people that own Manchester City. And I think stuff like this, like with the Brahim Diaz situation, I think the statement that you put at the end, where it's like, they say essentially we have done this before, but we have to be careful how it's executed, shows that this is something that's been done multiple times as well. So it's not like the first time ever it happened. And the start and the series of tweets at the start as well, the 6 tweets at the start. I think now, because Manchester City haven't been cooperative, and I think because Manchester City haven't just kind of, and by the way, he mentions it in his tweets, since you have mountains and mountains and mountains of irrefutable evidence to show your innocence, why don't you just show us the mountains and mountains and mountains of evidence that show that you're innocent? This is the stuff that I just don't understand. If Terry says, Husam, you punched Igal at 13:05 p.m. today, and we're going to put you in prison, I'm going to go like, no, 13:05, I was in the mosque, and here's the picture because it was the Friday prayer. Done. Like, and I'm innocent now. There is no need for us to have this whole, show about it and do all this stuff. But the thing is with Manchester City, we all know, factually speaking, that something has happened. Something has happened, whether it be at the start before FFP or even post the FFP thing happened. It's just these small things that when you connect the dots together, listen, I'm not no Sherlock Holmes. I'm not no, Conan, the guy who does this, and then he just starts analyzing what happened. I'm not any of that. Like, I'm just a football fan who looks at common sense and logic and facts, and I just speak on this situation. And I look at as an example, the sponsorship groups, and I look at them making money during COVID. I make at their revenues being extremely big for a club that essentially started out 12 years ago. You look at emails like this. And by the way, Terry knows this. This is not the first emails that have been released to the public. There have been multiple emails released to the public. So this is just compiling on and on and on and on and on. And I will relate this to this Forest and Everton thing quickly. I think what the Premier League's doing right now, I actually give them credit. I actually think it's a little bit smart. I tell you why. They're essentially charging Forest, they're charging Everton, they're charging all these small clubs, because now they're just they're hunting slowly every single fish. Like, they caught the tuna, and then they caught the dolphin, and then they caught this, and they caught that, and now big up to you, Fad. And then they want to catch now the big shark. Don't they call themselves the shark? So you've caught all the fish in the ocean, and now there's this one guy that still I have to catch. And essentially, the court of public opinion now, and football fans in general and Premier League fans in general will have this idea in their head. Wait, so Everton were deducted 10 points, Forest had this ban, etc., etc., etc. So now if City get charged, you're gonna have to do like times 100 of whatever you've done. So this is the thing. I feel like they're doing this on purpose just to go harder and harder on Manchester City. And I hope they are charged, and I hope they are stripped of their titles. And people always say, and I'm sorry, I'm going to rant on just here quickly.
Fine,
People, City fans will always say shit like, oh, so what are the small clubs meant to do? What are the small clubs meant to do? How come the small clubs ever win? How come the small clubs ever do this? How come the small... Blah, blah, blah. Leicester City won the English Premier League. And then under Brendan Rodgers, made a series of smart signings, finishing fifth, even though they easily could have finished fourth. So that was like something they could have done. They could have become a Champions League club consistently. They could have made their way to the mountaintop. Brighton is a perfect example. Many clubs in this league. West Ham is a perfect example. Selling Declan Rice, buying a Kudus, buying players like that, winning the Conference League, now in 6th place, looking to win the Europa League, looking to win trophies. You can build your way from the bottom till the top quickly. You can do that. You know, you can and step by step you can get to the mountaintop. From a YouTube perspective, you know, when I first started, I had to build my way up till 25,000 subscribers on my channel. Some people now it's a bit easier, you know, maybe a couple of guys get redirects, shit like that. People find who you are. So you can get to the top still, and you can get to the top in an easier way. I recognize that. And by the way, the TV deals that are going to come to the Premier League, there is no excuse for any Premier League to not compete. Like TV deals, I think in the next 2 years, I think it was about to be 300, 400 million, something like that. So a club like Brighton 100% have a chance of winning the league. 100% Brighton in 3-4 years time, they can build the league. If they can win the league, if they start building properly. That's it.
I think there's a few things to sort of break down here. Of course, they deserve their day in court. They deserve their trial or their hearing, whichever phrase people want to use. And if they're proven to be innocent, then I'm someone that will stand there and say they're innocent. The problem is when I read a thread like this. Now, Nick Harris has got to be able to, at some stage, cite his sources. Now, he's never going to reveal his sources to the world. In fact, his final tweet on the thread was, if you're a former Manchester City or CFG, I think I mean City Football Group employee who wants to add to this growing band of disillusioned folk who want to share stories of what really happened since 2010, get in touch. Will be 100% protected as a source. But there could be a point. Let's say, for instance, Manchester City Football Group sued him to say Diaz wasn't at the club in February 2014. You're a liar. And they could do that, by the way. They've got the legal power to sue whoever they want. They've got more money than God. They'd never run out of cash. The fact that they're not suing these journalists is telling. The fact that as much as I know journalists can kind of run along with crazy stories like Varane's gone skiing when he shouldn't. But this type of thing is very different. This is a very serious allegation that he has tweeted out, that they have illegally trafficked a minor into their football club and alluded to the fact they may have done this multiple times. So I just don't see a journalist like Nick Harris lying with no credible source about this situation and risking not just his job, but everything, his livelihood, his money. They could sue him for every penny he's got. They could take his home away, and it's a drop in the ocean to the Manchester City group, but they could ruin his life. So he isn't going to make, from releasing the story, more money than his house is worth through releasing this story. So there's no mileage in him lying. He believes he has a solid source that would back him up in any eventuality regarding these situations. And that's point one. The second point I would kind of go into is a lot of people are saying that, well, this is different from potentially financially doping. My question is it? And I say, is it? Because Manchester City, and we have rightfully praised them in recent years for how much money they have raised through the sale of their academy players. We have all sat there and gone, look how much money they have raised for the sale of their academy players. And I'm going to search this now because we're live, and I didn't think about this before we went live. But I'm going to look at it now, and I just want to find the Diaz sale. It must be somewhere, how much they sold him for. I'm just scrolling, looking for it now. I don't even know when he was sold from the football club, but I'll probably find it at some point. I don't even know where it was that he went to. Here he went. He went to Real Madrid, 17 million, according to transfer.co.uk. So the point is, let's just say they brought him in at 14 when they were not allowed to, from I think it was Malaga that he was at, and they sold him for 17 million. That's 17 million of pure profit under FFP and profit and sustainability because he's an academy player. But if they've brought him in illegally at the age of 14, they may not have been able to get him at 16 because by then he may have agreed to go somewhere else. How many other young players? I mean, and I'm looking at the numbers here. They sold, I don't even know who this guy is. In the same year, they sold Angus Gunn for 11 million, Jason Derona for 10 million. A year later, academy players here, Douglas Luiz got sold for 16 million. They sold Manu Garcia for 4 million. The next year, they didn't really sell anybody. There's a number of players here. I mean, they sold Jack Harrison for 12 million. They sold Lucas Miencha to Wolfsburg for 8 million. That's just in a couple of years surrounding that. If it's marginally provable that one player was brought in and the email states have done this before, surely an investigation has to happen into every single academy player they have signed. They have got to thoroughly investigate when they came in, how they signed them, what they did to get them, or what age were they in. Because they're now making hundreds of millions of pounds through the sale of these brilliant players they're developing. But how are they signing them? Are they going to these families and saying, look, he's not meant to join until he's 16, but we'll bring him in now at 14. We've got this way of doing it. We'll get you some jobs in Manchester so you can be here. He won't officially be on our books until he's 16, but he really will be. We'll just stick him in the academy at this club or that club over there or in this country until he's a certain age. Then we bring him in. If they're cheating the system that way to raise the money they're now making to keep spending, that has to be investigated. Now, the third claim that people throw back in is, I don't think they're the only club that's doing it. Fair enough. That is in my opinion, that is a reasonable claim to make. But show me some form of evidence that other clubs are doing this. I'm not saying they're not, but where are the leaked emails from Arsenal, from Liverpool, from Chelsea, from Manchester United, from Tottenham to show they're doing this? Why is it City? Now, you can argue it's an agenda, but it does appear, according to this journalist, that it's Man City employees that are leaking this. This isn't they're not being hacked by Liverpool fans who are then hacking the email server and finding this. It's Man City's own employees that are leaking this to the media. Maybe, so for me, I would agree. I don't think they're the only club who's doing this. But they're the only club where it's leaking out and the information is coming out. So you can't defend City's potential actions but other clubs might be doing it as well. Can you imagine being in a police station? We're arresting
Didn't Chelsea get kind of charged for a similar reason with this youngster stuff?
They've been done exactly, and it's crazy for me. It is absolutely crazy to me. Even if every club is doing it, that's not a defense of Man City. We're looking at that because that's what's come out. I can't ignore this. And someone actually said in the comments here, they said, Terry, why? Sorry, it says it made me laugh. It says, Terry, why'd you bring this up first? I think you have an agenda. It's not my fault that this information has come to light. Football fans should talk about it. And although I want to talk about football,
I'm sure Terry DM'd the journalist to put out those tweets, right?
Says, instead of football, rivals are talking about charges and spending. No, we're not talking about spending. We're talking about, have Man City, over the past 10 or so years, raised the money to build this amazing squad and construct one of the greatest football teams ever known to man? Have they cheated the system? Have they broke it? Listen, if it's, have they illegally brought in underage players to fund this situation? Have they done that? If they have, it needs to be looked at because the football they've produced has been absolutely spellbinding. But it's fake. It's fugazi. It's not real if it was built upon a sham. And as football people, we should want the truth. I want the truth for Man City fans. If they end up having this taken away from the Man City fans, if everything they think is real gets taken away, genuinely, I'll feel for them. How disgusting would it be for their club to cheat them as well? How disgusting would it be for Pep Guardiola to have had a squad built for him through ill-gotten gains? This is important for football at every single level to know the truth. Equally, it has to be discussed because if Man City are innocent and these journalists and these whistleblowers are making up lies about them, they need to be outed and stopped as well, because one day it could be your club. But you don't resolve these situations by having no discourse about them and not discussing them in public. And for me, like, I'm generally a believer in there's no smoke without fire, with the volume of evidence that's been put out there so far. But if you believe they're innocent, then I respect your opinion. But this needs to be, as a football fan,
you're wrong.
I think this needs to be answered personally. I really, really do, because this is
and you know, Terry, I'm just looking at something. I'm just looking at something here quickly, and you know, I'm gonna ask the chat something. I'm on Sports Illustrated right now. There was an article released in 2012 of clubs spend over a 10-year period. So from 2012 till 2022. From 2012 till 2022, Manchester City spent 1.699 billion euros in the period of 10 years. Now, does anyone in the chat actually genuinely believe that Manchester City made 1.699 billion in the space of 10 years? If you think that, then, you know, and I just want to ask the chat something. And, you know, I want to do this in the same fashion I do on my channel, just to kind of gauge where people's minds are at. Everyone in the chat, if you had right now a gun to your head and someone had to ask you, is City guilty or innocent? In the chat, just let me know. Use the word guilty or use the word innocent. Right now, gun to your head. You have to say one word. It's either guilty or innocent. I want to see if I see more guilties and more innocents in the chat. And you can see the variety of people that will say guilty. There's a United fan who calls me out every show, guilty. There's Arsenal fans, guilty. There's Spurs fans, guilty. Everyone, because you know what it is? People's general common sense and logic gets them to this conclusion. You look at the chat right away, you see how many guilties are there compared to innocents. And the only people who are writing innocent are the City fans. There's not a single non-City fan who's saying guilty. Even Kate in the chat, who's a Spurs fan, putting in guilty. What does Kate, who is a Spurs fan, hate Manchester City? Is she jealous of Manchester City? Manchester City never stopped Spurs from achieving anything, so she has no reason. So when you look at stuff like this, I as a football fan, and Terry as a football fan, when you have so much evidence that is just thrown in your face, you categorically cannot think that all this is made because of some form of or sort of agenda. We all, like, deep down, guys, deep down, I'm talking about your subconscious as a football fan. When you sit there and someone has a gun in your head right now and go like, are they innocent or are they guilty? You're probably going to say guilty. And the reason why you're going to say that is you recognize that Manchester City spent a shitload of money to get to this position. We all know this, you guys. Like, this is not, and I can go back to the days where many of you probably weren't even watching football, like the Robinho days and the Alano days and all this, but that was before FFP. But even if you talk about after FFP and the transfers that were made since then, the money that is spent on fullbacks, the money that was spent on the goalkeeper situation, the money that was spent on midfielders. And you know why this whole 14-year-old signing thing, what Terry just pointed out, is actually also dangerous. I'll tell you why. And I'm not talking even from a traffic to minor perspective. I'm going to talk from essentially the money perspective, because that's the thing that we're talking about City for. So these sales, and I actually double checked it now, Brahim Diaz was sold for 16.5 million plus 6.5 million add-ons. So that 20 million right there, all City have to do is go like that 20 million, 15 million of it was used on the signing of Akanji, as an example. And then they add up 2, 3, 4 random academy products, and like that money was used on the signing of Ake. And then they add up another 3, 4, and that money was used on the signing of Haaland, and etc., etc., etc. So these things, you might be thinking now, why are we talking about a 14-year-old signing for City 10 years ago? The reason why we're talking about it now is because that 14-year-old is now a footballer for Real Madrid, and he was sold for around 20 million pounds. So it matters in the grand scheme of things of how City made money and how City made revenue streams. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID hit. 2019-2020 season, COVID hit the whole world. Clubs weren't able to make transfers. Clubs were going broke. People were worried for their lives. Manchester City somehow made a profit. I have no words.
Do you know what I find really interesting looking at these comments? Is that there's a great one here that's from Johnny Sins. He said that Terry is a typical deluded United fan who, do you honestly think that anything is going to happen to City even if they are found guilty? Use your brain. You know nothing is going to happen. They got away with it before. But if they're found guilty of everything they've been charged against, We have to understand the severity of it and how much money is at play here. We don't know yet. But let's say it's as bad a case as it can be. You are talking about a 10 or so year conspiracy to commit fraud. Now, this isn't illegal per se because it's just outside the rules of a competition, not outside the rule of law in the UK. But of course, they're going to be punished heavily. Do I believe that they're going to be found guilty? I don't know yet. And the reason I don't know is because we've seen a fraction of the evidence that the Premier League says they have. And we have no idea what Man City have as irrefutable evidence that defends them. I'm very open-minded about this. I'm not like Husam. Husam thinks 100% they're guilty. My view is this don't look good, bruv. But I'm very open-minded. If they produce multiple bits of evidence that prove they've done nothing wrong, then from my, for instance, they did have him in their academy at 14. But from this point, he came and did some sort of trial, and then he went back to Malaga, and there was no formal agreement. It was all just a gentleman's agreement up until the age of 16. Then I'd look at it and go, well, it's maybe sailing close to the wind, but there's nothing wrong with that per se. So my view is very much if they can prove irrefutably that this is just a journalist has gone off on a tangent and it isn't quite true what's being said, then I go, wow, look, there's the evidence, it's done. Where this becomes sticky is whether they're found not guilty in the tribunal, but there's no evidence to support their claim, but not enough evidence. So, for instance, the Premier League have allegations, but have not been able to ascertain enough evidence to prove it. Now, what's really interesting is that there's a super chat that came through that said, I want to read this out because it's important here. It says the CAS concluded no evidence for sponsorship inflation. You're essentially accusing hundreds of massive companies of fraud. So why isn't this a criminal case? Well, again, you've got to understand that a lot of the accusations are against of what we've seen are against companies that are actually owned by the royal family stroke government in Abu Dhabi. So no criminal case can be put against them. And Husam has given us the insight to what it's like in the Middle East. I'll leave him to explain that so nobody comes for me. There's no accusation here of Nike or Adidas or a big European or UK-based company committing fraud. So that's one part. Secondly, you are right. The CAS did conclude there's no evidence. In some of the journalist reports that I read on this, and by the way, when you read the thread from Nick Harris, Man City have been trying to stop journalists from having access to some of the preliminary hearings so they couldn't report on it. That's why it's murky for me. The one thing I think that's very important in the world is the press having access to all these types of situations. Trying to stop the press getting access is scary to me. The next point I'd make is this. This is part of the claims and charges against City that the Premier League believe they have some evidence of this wrongdoing. And City are essentially been told, and this is what City fans have come on the terrace and told us, that City have been advised by their legal team to not cooperate and give no information, give them no access to anything. Essentially putting it out there of, well, if you can't, we're not going to give you, if it was a criminal case, the police could get access via a court order and go through all the documentation internally at City and potentially find evidence. That won't happen in this situation. But in the tribunal, they could decide, well, do you know what? The Premier League has got some evidence. They've got these claims against you. You're refusing to cooperate. There is a possibility that they're found guilty even without irrefutable proof because they're not cooperating by demonstrating this. So it's very difficult. And that's why I'm open-minded, because we don't know all the ins and outs. The problem that we have is that you see these emails and these accusations are crazy. And this is where I agree with Husam. I understand delaying court cases and dragging things out. But if you have irrefutable evidence, why waste millions on lawyers? Even if you're a billionaire, why waste millions on lawyers when you can just imagine I'm accused of something and I spend £200,000 on lawyers' fees trying to delay it going to court when I've got video evidence that I didn't do it anyway and I could get the charges dropped in seconds. That is what doesn't make sense to me. And I know it's their prerogative, but that's the element where I go, I need to wait and see the mist clear before I have a full opinion as whether or not I think they're guilty. Because it's a bit strange for me if you have irrefutable evidence for you to delay this process for so many years. And why would you not cooperate? Why would you not say, oh, you want to see our sponsored document? Well, there it is. It's irrefutable. That's the bit I'm a little bit confused by personally. Let's do some more of a comment.
100%. Instead of spending all this money on lawyers, as you said, and doing this whole, hoo-ha for the whole world to get involved, and the court of public opinion, and we just proved it in a small. Of course, listen, the whole world is not on this chat right now, but as an example, until you can just do ratioing it to the worldwide fans. As an example, just now we asked the terrace audience. No exaggeration, 90% of the fans who support multiple different clubs all thought guilty. So now it's open to the the court of public opinion, and people are thinking about it this way. So if you had irrefutable evidence, once again, why go through all this shit? Why go through all this crap right here? If there is any single thing that shows that Manchester City are innocent, as Terry just said, just show it to the world and khalas. Done.
And look,
that's it.
The burden of proof is on the Premier League, not City. It's principle. So, yeah, listen, I can understand that again, but now we're getting into the realm, and this is why you've got to understand the court of public opinion is what it is. You can get away with things because of legal precedents that isn't going to change people's minds. So what you've stated out here, you're right. It's a legal precedent. The burden of proof is on the Premier League, and maybe in the tribunal, the Premier League will present its evidence. The QCs will say that's not enough. There's no legal obligation for Man City to oblige with your request. Therefore, we side with Man City. That isn't going to clear Man City, though. A lot of football will still say, well, if they've got the proof, and this is the thing, Khaldun said we have irrefutable evidence. So if you don't show the irrefutable evidence now, question marks are going to remain over you. I think what's important here, it's away from Man City, is that the rules of the Premier League have got to change. They've got to change the rules of the Premier League, either via a regulator or directly, where if the Premier League wants to see financial records, they're allowed to have access to them. Then you'll see who is and who isn't cooking their books at all levels. Because theoretically, if you're not cheating, what's your issue with them coming? It's not like I understand if you're not letting the police into your house, whatever they say, because you could have things planted. The Premier League are not going to be able to plant false financial documentation into your trading accounts, into your emails. I doubt they're going to be able to do that. So that's what they've got to do here, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. Thanos here says, how much time are you going to use your name? How much time
Our name is
are you going to empower my name to make money? Listen, Thanos, but how about when I make shows and the Terrace makes money through praising you for being the best team in the world? Is that okay? Are you only happy with Man City being mentioned when there's accusations that are made when you're winning? Are you not happy for that? Would you not, if this was Manchester United, if this was Liverpool, would you not be saying it should be discussed? Would you as a City fan state that if this was Liverpool, it should be buried under a rug? You wouldn't say that, my friend.
Thanos, I'll just say something here to defend Terry, and I'm saying this in general, not just for the City situation. Guys, when you say stuff like Terry twerks for Arsenal, or Terry twerks for Chelsea, or Terry always attacks City, shit like that, guys, the name of the channel is the Football Terrace. It's a channel generally for all football clubs. And I'm not just defending Terry because I come on the channel. I'm saying this honestly, and I'll say this behind his back and say this to his face. I'll say this on YouTube and off YouTube. This is a channel that represents both sides. If Liverpool get charged tomorrow, he's going to cover it, and he's going to expect me to respond. If something happens negative to Liverpool, he'll say so. If something positive happens to Liverpool, he'll say so. How many times have I seen Terry come on the terrace and go like, Manchester City is the best club in the world? Like 100 times this season?
That. I've defended Pep Guardiola at every stance. I've defended Pep at every step when they call him a checkbook manager. I've defended Man City when people say they're only at the top because they spend. I said no. Man United spend more. Chelsea have spent more, but it's how well they're run. And I do believe large elements of Man City are run very well. All we're questioning, based on these leaked emails from Man City employees, is has it been built through ill-gotten gains? And if it has, it needs to be addressed, because it isn't fair on City fans. Yourself, Thanos, it isn't fair on you if your club's lying to you. You should want the truth as much as anybody else. This here says a City stance has always been they don't want to sue. Also, the Premier League would have to rebrand if City are found guilty. 1.6 billion spent, not all of that under FFP. The Premier League wouldn't have to rebrand. This would actually strengthen the Premier League's brand if City were guilty and they punish them adequately, because it would show that no matter how valuable you are to the brand, we will kick you out or we will punish you if you cheat our system. it's going to be more damaging if they're found guilty and given a 10-point deduction. That will hurt the Premier League so much more than actually punishing them, in my personal opinion. Jonathan here says, come on, Man City's ownership will never let this happen. They'll be found innocent and Richard Masters will retire to his own island 2 days later. Man City about to get clapped. Love, much love to you guys. Thank you, Mr. Dark. Lineal. Thank you. Haven't you heard? City were the only club to make a profit during the pandemic when Real Madrid, Barca, Liverpool, Man United all stated losses. All right. Well, look, I mean, this could be true, but prove it. That's the one thing the Premier League have made a mistake on here, and UEFA. They've made these rules around FFP, but not allowed the rules to include having access to your financial documentation, and that's a massive mistake from them. I always think of Al Mubarak's interview where he was supremely confident the charges were nothing to be scared of. I need them relegated and humbled.
Same.
Well, I need them relegated and humbled if they're guilty. If they're innocent, by the way, you'll see me do a big stream and talk about it and speak about it and then defend City every single day after that if they're found innocent. I don't have an agenda. I just want the truth. Husam, my best Scouser, love the passion and tenacity you represent us with. Proper Scouse traits. Hope you get a chance for you to live stream a parade day, my bro.
I appreciate you, Liverpool 32, Red. And listen, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the wolves on the stream, like Tom Little and others who wanted Klopp gone last season, who says Salah's better than Gerrard. You get me? I feel like I'm the true Scouser at heart. You know, even though my garbage bin ain't purple, you know, I represent Scouse traits, as you say.
Speaking of struggling situations, what have you been doing this week? I've heard you've been triggering some Chelsea fans.
Oh, you have no idea what I've done with these Chelsea fans. And you know, there's some Chelsea fans. Yesterday, I got a comment on one of my streams that I've never got before. He's like, he stated word for word. He said, Husam seems to be the only guy on YouTube who actually understands the Chelsea situation. Like, and I think the guy that made that comment actually himself is the Chelsea fan. Here, he said it. I swear you're the only YouTuber who seems to have got it when it comes to Chelsea. He literally said it himself. And you know what it is? That Fulham game epitomizes everything I've been saying about Chelsea Football Club. What happened in that Fulham game, Terry? Fulham had like one shot on goal, 2 shots on goal. They had like one chance. The Pereira shot that Petrovic saved. The Jimenez shot that my grandmother could have saved. Chelsea dominated that game. They had more possession. They had more chances. Gallagher hit the post, the bar 2 times. This striker missed this many chances. Broha got this chances. He missed them. This guy got this many chances. He missed them. Blah, 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 blah. And then they get the penalty. They win 1-0. What I don't understand with Chelsea fans is, and I've said this about them before, is I feel like they are stuck in the Abramovich mindset. And guys, I'm not even triggering you guys. I'm not even rattling you guys. I'm just going to state facts here. You are stuck in the Abramovich mindset where you're like, we're Chelsea Football Club. We must win. Let me give you headline news right now that you guys are unaware of. Todd Bowley gives a total of 0 Fs whether you guys win the Carabao Cup or not. American ownership do not care whether you guys win a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup. They care if you win the Premier League or the Champions League because of this. American ownership cares about money. This is just their mantra. This is just how they look at it. Full stop. It's not me, General, because it's just I'm just following the pattern here. And they look at it as a business and they want to make money using the business. Now, when you look at Chelsea Football Club, I went to the statistics. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I went to big chances created as a team this season. Chelsea Football Club have 45 big chances created. Let's now address why big chances created is a thing from a football perspective. Do you know that Mauricio Pochettino has this Chelsea team creating more big chances, not chances, because a chance could be a shot from outside the box, blah, 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 creating more big chances than Aston Villa, than Brighton, and than Arsenal Football Club. And he has only 2 less big chances created than Ange Postecoglou, who the whole world sucks off. This is a manager that has a overrated young squad overperforming. And yes, I said it, they're overperforming. Because yesterday I thought to myself, who actually has a better team, Newcastle or Chelsea? Think about it. Newcastle have a better team than Chelsea. I'll give you a quick combined 11. There's no need for me to go to details. Genuinely speaking here, no agendas. Pope, Trippier, because Reece James is never fit. Botman and Schär. There's no Chelsea centre-back who gets in. Dan Burn. In midfield, you got Bruno Guimaraes. You got Enzo Fernandez. And then you got Joe Linton. The front three, I'm going to go Palmer on the right. I'm going to go Gordon on the left. I'm going to go Isaac up top. That's 9 Newcastle players. 9 Newcastle players that start for Chelsea. And yet they live in this crazy agenda that they're supposed to win now. They're supposed to do this. You know who's the main culprit as to why Chelsea are here? Todd Bowley is the main culprit why Chelsea are in this position. And not because he hasn't fired Pochettino, because he changed the culture and the essence of Chelsea Football Club. That is the guy that all of you need to be blaming, because he came into Chelsea, changed your whole culture. He changed your culture from a club that does not care about a manager, does not get emotionally invested in a manager, wants to win once every 2-3 years, to a culture of a club that now has signed 20 players that are like 24 or under, trying to win a league title in 3-4 years from now. This is on Todd Bowley. This has got nothing to do with Poch. That 41 big chances missed out of 45. Had you scored 10 of them, you'd be in 4th place right now. You'd be in 5th place right now, rightfully where your squad belongs. And now a Chelsea fan will come tell me. Now a Chelsea fan come tell me, Husam, Pochettino has made mistakes. Look at when he played Colwell left back. Look at when he played this guy right back. I could say the same stuff about Pep Guardiola. Did Pep Guardiola factually not cause City points by playing Alvarez in midfield? Did he not lose City points by playing Guardiola at left back? Jurgen Klopp is my manager, and Jurgen Klopp himself has made mistakes this season. Every manager makes mistakes. And then I love what they do. This is what Chelsea fans do. Final 2 points here. This is what Chelsea fans love to do. What Chelsea fans love to do is they love to use buzzwords as a reason why to sack Pochettino that you can't respond to in essence. In-game management, tactical adjustments, substitutions, like just generic statements that could mean anything. Like, I'll give you an example from my club, just so the Chelsea fans don't think I have an agenda against them. I'm actually defending your manager. I'll give you an example from my own club. The PGMOL came out and gave an apology for the Liverpool-Arsenal game. I still don't think the referees cost us that game. I think Jurgen Klopp cost us that game. The manager that I think has been the best performing this season in the league is Jurgen Klopp, because we're top of the league and because of the essentially the rebuild. I'm not going to get into it. The point is, even I blamed him for this game. So it's not always, the manager is faultless. And the Chelsea fans are full of shit. And I'm calling out the people who come on the terrace. I'm calling out Chelsea fans in general, because this is what Chelsea fans do. The Borough game. Had Madueke not started, Madueke scored 2 goals in 2 games. Why are you benching Madueke? And then Madueke starts. And then it's like, why did you bench this guy? He's been in good form lately. And this is my final statement. I'm going to land on this and I'm going to go quiet now. Factually speaking, and I'm not talking about England, I'm talking more worldwide. The reason why I, as a content creator, and why Terry, as a content creator, needs to find Spurs fans to work with is Mauricio Pochettino. Mauricio Pochettino made Spurs a global Champions League club that the whole world knows about. Kurdish, who appears on this channel before, used to talk about his cousin riding a donkey in Kurdistan. He doesn't know the Premier League, but he knows the Champions League. So he made essentially, and I'll give you guys the logic. Right now, imagine Wolves, Crystal Palace, because this was Spurs' level. I'm not being disrespectful, I'm being honest right now. Spurs' level before Mauricio Pochettino was Wolves and was Crystal Palace. Imagine if I tell you a manager is about to get Crystal Palace to a Champions League final in 4 years. What are you going to say? He's unbelievable. That's what Pochettino done. And some of the managers that you guys like to suck off, like an Unai Emery, he failed at Arsenal, he failed at PSG. And other managers like Ange Postecoglou, who people act like started managing yesterday, he's been a manager for 30 years. He's been a manager since before I was alive. I'm 28 years old. He's been managing 29 years. Like, this ain't new for him. He's been managing. Mauricio Pochettino is the 3rd best manager in the league. And Chelsea fans need to get it through their skulls that if they sack this guy, all they're doing is hitting the reset button, because you're not going to get Mourinho, you're not going to get Simeone, you're not going to get Ancelotti, because these elite managers don't work with 13-year-olds. You should be Todd Bowley out, not Poch out. Done.
I can't believe you're backing a serial loser. I can't believe you're doing that, Sam. Can't believe it. You
Spurs are
Poch-a-sexual.
serial losers, not Pochettino.
What's
Go
Poch ever
look
won?
right now, Terry. You're old enough. Just go look at Spurs' finishes in the Premier League era: 15th, 12th, 10th, 13th, 11th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 10th, 11th. That was their average position. So for Pochettino to make a club
No,
that was
Harry Redknapp got them into, started getting them into the Champions League before Poch did. He got them right up the top of the table before he did.
Yes. And what's the difference between Michu and Harry Kane? Michu done it for 1 year, Harry Kane done it for 10. How long did Pochettino do it for consistently? Then Harry Redknapp get sacked. And Harry Redknapp didn't even win a trophy at Spurs. Isn't that the thing that you beat up Spurs fans with? Mauricio Pochettino with? Redknapp never won Spurs a trophy. Juan de Ramos won Spurs the trophy. Is Juan de Ramos a better manager than Poch just because he won a Carabao Cup? No, he isn't.
Ramos.
That's the guy that won them the Carabao Cup in 2008, Juan de Ramos, when they beat Chelsea in the final 2-1. I'm defending the Chelsea manager here.
No, I get you. Juan de Ramos, let's look at his career, right? 69 now, honors as a manager. I mean, this guy's won, look, in his career, he won that League Cup, but he won the Copa del Rey with Sevilla. The UEFA Cup twice. Yeah, Ramos is a better manager than Pep. Then Poch.
Whoa, clip that up. KJ, clip him up. Clip him, KJ.
Ramos has won more in his career than Poch has. Poch, yes, he won a couple of trophies with PSG. But if you took Wilder now away from Sheffield United and gave him to PSG, he'd win the league. It's easy. Like,
I agree with that.
Poch is a good coach. And I'm not saying you're wrong about everything, but Poch is definitely making mistakes.
So is every manager in this league. Has Pep not made mistakes this season? Be honest, Terry.
Yes, he has. He has. And I do agree with you that the squad is too imbalanced with young kids. I also think that there's a possibility. Look, when you buy young players, they don't all develop into what you expect. So one of the three out of Lavia, Enzo, and Caicedo, maybe two of them, may not progress from the quality they show at this age. There's a lot of young players that burst for 18, 19, look amazing, but never get any better. So that's a possibility as well. I get you there.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, your buzzword experience. What did Pochettino ask for in the summer? He asked for an experienced striker by the name of Dusan Vlahovic. He did. So once again, I people need to understand the reason why I'm defending the Chelsea manager is not because I don't want Chelsea to succeed or some sort of like hidden agenda. There is no hidden agenda. Chelsea are 9th. There is no need for me to have a hidden agenda against a team in 9th place. Of course, I hate Chelsea Football Club. I'm never going to deny this because I grew up on the Benitez Mourinho years. But I'm just looking at Pochettino right now. I'm looking at what they're doing. Bro, they're creating more big chances than Arsenal. And you're missing all of them. That has nothing to do with Pochettino. Blame your forwards. The Borough game away, I said his substitutions were wrong. Bro, Palmer had miss of the season in that game. They didn't call out Cole Palmer. They spent the whole time, Poch out. That Fulham game scenario happened 100 times this season. How many times did they absolutely dominate the team, have the possession, have the chances, miss them all? They were just lucky against Fulham. They got a penalty. So shit like this is what I mean. Like, I recognize who's to blame and who isn't to blame. And the guy who's to blame, the biggest culprit is Todd Bowley, who changed the whole culture of your club to a club that wants to win 3 years from now. That's who to blame. Not Pochettino, because Pochettino came in and he's doing a fantastic. By the way, Pochettino, out of the remaining 18 managers, there's Pep and then there's Klopp. Out of the remaining 18 managers, if Klopp were to go tomorrow, I'm just saying out of the remaining Premier League managers, before someone says Xabi Alonso, Zidane, I'm talking about the current active Premier League managers. If Klopp were to go tomorrow, I'm taking Poch over all of them, happily.
Wow, that is a big claim. You take Poch over. I mean, Emery's just won so much more than him, though.
Yes, but there is a difference between managing a big club and managing a mid-table club. And I've explained this to you before. If I became a billionaire tomorrow and I took over Brentford, I'm hiring Unai Emery the next day because I know Unai Emery will get these players believing in him and doing what he wants to do. I know that. But if I became a billionaire and I bought Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, these clubs, I'm never getting Unai Emery. And by the way, Unai Emery failed at the two big clubs he managed. And when you look at PSG, by the way, people keep talking about PSG. Didn't Unai Emery have the biggest bottle job in Champions League history, where they were 4-0 up against PSG and they ended up losing 6-1? Why does no one ever mention that? Why is it always... Let's talk about Unai Emery's league finishes with Sevilla and with Villarreal, since it's so sustainable and stuff like that. So I think there's a different element, because I don't think Unai Emery could command the respect of the Liverpool players. I think Poch would, because of where he's been, who he's managed, and the fact that he has been to a Champions League final. He's done stuff in the bigger competitions. I think Poch is extremely underrated, and I think he was very unlucky. And I'm someone who provides context. Liverpool and Spurs in like the 2018-ish, 2019-ish years were in kind of similar situations, similar scenarios. Like it was like we all saw Man City were unbelievable, and it was on to either Liverpool or Spurs to climb the table next. Spurs decided to build a new stadium. Liverpool decided to sell Coutinho, buy Alisson and Van Dijk, and take themselves to the next level. So Spurs were in a position, by the way, where they could have won league titles, where they could have won a Champions League, where they could have won trophies. But the problem is Poch never, ever got backed by Daniel Levy. In a period of 2 years where they had their strongest team, he spent a total of 0 in 2 years. Tell me which manager can make his team continuously be a Champions League club by spending 0. Let's be real, man. Listen, Poch for me, I rate what he's done highly.
Fair dues. There's some comments here. Sam loves to waffle about Spurs. He needs.
I never said anything about Spurs, Jim. That's the funny part.
Compare Emery's trophies in his career to Poch's. Poch also broke PSG's streak in League 1 wins. Emery is streets ahead.
Emery also in 1 year didn't win the League A, by the way. See how the same stick you use, I can beat you with it as well? No problem.
From a Chelsea fan, I agree with Husam. We talk about we have to have patience. I want Poch in his job for at least 2 seasons, and then I'll judge him. It's a young squad. Give him time, is what Husam Sane says here.
What did I say in the summer, by the way, Terry? Did I not? I was one of the few people who said this is the worst project to the most worst fan base to do this project with, because they have 0 patience, and it's proven. And if they sack Pochettino tomorrow, they're gonna get an Amorim or even Xabi Alonso or whoever, and they'll be in 7th instead of them being in 9th. And then a year later, someone will come on the terrace. Oh, get Xabi Alonso out my club, get Amorim out my club, blah 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 blah. It's just a cycle with them.
Ray here says Jurgen Klopp is God boss without cheating, just pure genius with his players in man management, with Pep Linders as his strategic genius. What Ray's got to say. Big up, Ray. Thank you.
Remember, I didn't turn on him last year, by the way. They called me negative.
You didn't.
I never said Klopp.
I haven't heard Tom Little or JJ, any of them say Klopp out in a while now. Or G, yeah, none of them. Terry and Husam, do you think if found guilty, they will take away City's trophies? And do you both think they should be taken away?
He thinks yes. Jim, I agree with you. Despite you telling me I'm waffling about Spurs and I need a shag, even though I didn't talk about Spurs. Yes, I agree with you. They should be stripped. They should be taken away. Just like the Juve title was taken away for a referee scandal. If you're caught cheating, then definitely your titles need to be taken away. And by the way, I keep the same energy. If you guys want to give, for example, the Oli year where he finished 2nd, if you want to give the title to Man United, I have no problem with it. Because factually speaking, the team in first cheated. Now, if you want to just have it as a null and void, I also have no problem with it. This is not me making a case for Liverpool winning more titles. Like, it's not like tomorrow, give all the trophies to Liverpool or give all the trophies to Man United or to Arsenal or to whoever. I couldn't care less who gets the trophies. I'm speaking generally here. Like, listen, I asked the chat and they all 90% of them said guilty anyway. Like, we all know deep down.
Yeah, I look at it that way. I'm not that fussed as to whether or not the second place teams in those Premier League years get the trophies. Same. I do think, again, if the severity of the guilt is huge, hundreds of millions pumped in via breaking the rules, built these brilliant squads, conspiracy, fraud, etc., then yes, I think the trophies that those squads relate to all those trophies should be removed from them. They probably obviously can't do the UEFA Champions League because this is an FA stroke Premier League situation, but I absolutely think they should be taken away. Because otherwise you're essentially turning around and saying you can cheat the system, build a brilliant squad, win everything, get deducted 50 points. So you have one bad year and then you're back to normal. All that's going to do is make everybody else start cheating. Because listen, you'd have City's last 7 years to have a 50-point deduction. You'd still survive in the Premier League, by the way, if you're Man City, right? You know, have 1 year where you're not going to win anything. And then after that point, you're back to your best. Yeah, they've got to do it.
And by the way, you know what it is? You know why it doesn't matter whether the second place team gets the trophy or not? Because essentially, all City's trophies now mean nothing. No City fan can tell me I won 6-7 Premier Leagues. Hamza can't waffle. No one can say anything. It just everything that they've done over the last 10 years gets removed. And no one, and anytime they speak to someone, all I have to say is cheats, guilty, 115, done.
Frankie here says, if the titles are taken away and given to the second place teams, how shameless will you both be? I need a joint parade organized.
Let's go. Hey, I'm ready. And you know what it is? I actually found this out. Even if all the second placed clubs get the trophies, United are still one trophy, one
head, yeah.
So like nothing changes. I think it's Man United will be on 23 and we'll be on 22 thing.
Yeah,
something like that.
I look at it from the perspective of I don't necessarily want it because we didn't win it those years. However, this was put to me by another United fan a while back. If City hadn't have done, say they're guilty, if they hadn't have done it, the landscape of football would have looked different. So Jose Mourinho building a team that got 85 points back in 2018, that was a lot of points. No one looked at that as being a bad level of points to get. Therefore, we wouldn't have looked at City as the benchmark of the best way to run your football club, the best way to invest. And maybe how we were operating would have felt very differently. So, yeah, you came second and finished 15 points behind City. It felt crap because you were nowhere near them. But if City weren't there or they weren't performing at that level, you wouldn't have felt crap about 85, 86, 87, 90 points. So it becomes, you feel the way you feel about that season because you didn't win it. But if it hadn't have happened, your whole psyche would have been different. I don't personally want them to be awarded, but if they were, I'd accept them. Accept them. It's one of them ones. And yeah, it's one of them.
And you know the best one thing for me? Now I destroy all your arguments because there's one guy. If he gets a Premier League, it's done for all of you. It's done. If Steven Gerrard gets a Premier League because of 13-14, it's game over. For all of you, it's game over.
Dinkle here says charges until 2018. City will have 3 titles. Yeah, do you know what? They may. And again, we have to understand. That's why it's a very hard thing to talk about now, because you're right. But what if, I mean, still the core group was built. A lot of the core group was built before 2018. But a lot of the money you've been generating since 2018 is because of the success under the years that you have allegedly cheated. So again, the way it works in other scenarios, if I've built a business, if I have a legitimate business that's now making £1 million profit a year, but we're 10 years in, but the first 3 years of that business, we raised the money by doing money laundering for a drug dealer. Even though now the business is legitimate, every asset I own and have owned from that business, all the money I've made from that can be taken away by the police. Yes. So I know this is not a criminal situation. So yeah, we don't know. You could find that the Premier League goes, we're taking everything because the whole foundation was built upon fraud. So we just don't know yet. We just don't know is the actual answer, but they could still have 3. Imagine all done United end up the only treble team. You know, that'd be nice, you know what I mean? But yeah, listen, cheating should never prosper. Agree on the Chelsea situation, although not sure I agree with you ending up with Pep being a mid-level manager.
Okay, so basically, just so I explain, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Sometimes you take ideas from other people. I took the idea from the terrace to allow people to super chat people into different tier lists. I done a Premier, so basically he's talking about my Premier League list. I done a Premier League managers list this season. I put Klopp first, Pep second. It's just based on this season, Poch third. And I ranked them. So City fans, because they wanted me to get cooked, City fans super chatted Pep down tiers. So I went and I posted on my community page, and Pep is in 15th. Like, so it's not my fault, you guys. At least I put him second. The guy super chatted him to 15th. It's not my fault.
I love it. We haven't done a tiering session like that on the terrace for a long time. I think I'm going to bring them back soon. I ain't done one for about a year now. I love those shows. They've been great.
The national break, March.
Yes, Sister Ross, in athletics across the board, if the winner is found to have cheated, the athlete who came second is promoted to first. The downside is no ceremony. Yeah, look, I know they do it in other sports. I just don't know. There's not a precedent for it in England in modern day history. So what did they do in Italy when Juve's were stripped? Did they give them?
Inter were awarded that league title. I think so.
Okay.
Yes, 2006. When you say, let me actually just search it quickly because I'm sure 2006 Serie A winner. I think it does show Inter. Yep, Inter. While Juventus were originally the first place team, this title was put sub judice due to their involvement with the Calciopoli scandal, with Inter instead declared champions by the Italian FA on July, thus winning the title for the first time in 17 years. So Inter got awarded the title.
Yes. Oh, okay. That was in 2006.
Yes, that's the cheating scandal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because AC Milan cheated as well, right? First and second.
Yep.
So that's what I mean by it changes your perspective. So in that season, Milan got 76 points, Juve got 91 points. So most Inter fans in the season would have felt like we're nowhere near the title winners. But then when you find out they've cheated to win, suddenly your 76 points doesn't sound so bad, because if the landscape had been honest and open and fair, maybe you wouldn't have got any more points, but maybe Juve would have got 10 points less. So suddenly only being 4 or 5 points away from the winners would have made you feel completely different about your season. So yeah, it just needs to be looked at. A guilty is commercial suicide for City. Yeah, they'll be finished. If they're guilty of this to the nth degree, the club could be done. Which, by the way, I also don't want to say,
will all go back to supporting Arsenal and Liverpool and Chelsea.
Honesty here with the super chat. He didn't say anything, but said another one here. Thank you so much for the brilliant donations and everyone that super chatted today. You're amazing. It says, I can't pronounce the name, but I get you.
Carlo Inacio
has rejected an offer from Newcastle as he is currently waiting for Liverpool. Real Madrid, Man United, and Liverpool have already reached out to his agents, but they aren't likely to pay his 52 million release clause this month.
I think this whole FFP thing, by the way, is stopping kind of a few of our clubs from sending money.
It's stopping everybody from buying. Where's this report come from? Where's this report come from, Honesty? I haven't seen it anywhere else. I wouldn't be surprised if he's waiting. I mean, it's with respect to not Aston Villa, to Newcastle. If you know Real Madrid and Liverpool, and to a degree Man United are waiting around, don't make the decision now to leave. Wait until the summer, bro. 6 months isn't going to change your life. Maria Williams here says the issue would be the clubs who didn't make the Champions League or the ones who were relegated. Surely there are so many knock-on effects. But you are right, Maria Williams. That's why it could be the end of City. Because say they are found guilty of widespread fraudulent corruption and everything else, there's so many legal claims that could be labeled against them that it could end up putting the club completely and utterly out of business. They could completely be liquidated. So that's why it's crazy. Yeah, as you've seen, teams that missed out on Champions League spots, it isn't just, the FA Cup winners being changed, but what about the teams they knocked out the FA Cup that could say, well, if we would have beaten them in round 3, we could have gone on to more rounds and earned that money. And all these things become legitimate claims if indeed they've built a squad through ill-gotten gains. So there's so many ramifications of a guilty. There really is. Thank you, Tony. That's 8 months as a member, you absolute legend. Lengan Sweet says, cheats or not cheats, I love the owners. The aim of elite sports is to win. Whether you cheat or...
the aim of elite sports is to win, and there is something called winning the right way, and there's something called building yourself from the bottom. Luton Town could build themselves from the bottom to become Premier League champions in 3 years from now. There is something I disagree with, like, people who claim everyone should have the same standards. No, I disagree with that. Luton Town shouldn't have the same standards as Manchester United. Of course not. But Luton Town could aim to win the league in 3 years if they build their team the right way. They make 2, 3, 4, 5 right transfers, correct transfers, raise money, through... there's multiple ways to win the Premier League, by the way. You just have to make correct decisions.
I look at it this way. sorry to interject right at the end. I'm sorry. I look at it this way. I've heard a lot of, not all, but a lot of City fans. I've heard Lee Gunner say that, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, essentially. Cheating is fine as long as you're trying to win. I hope that energy is kept if it turns out that Man United, who are their rivals, match fix a game that beats them. I hope that if it turned out that Man United beat them in the FA Cup final this year, but we paid the referee, would City fans really come out and say, I don't care that Man United paid the referees. They're doing anything to win. We're accepting. Are you really telling me, Man City fans, if you got beat to a Premier League title and it turned out that Liverpool's team were injecting themselves with steroids to get over the line, you'd say it's fine they took banned substances to win because they're only trying to win? No, I don't know where this suddenly come from. And maybe it's Lang and Sweet's a legend of this channel. I respect him to bits. But I've seen a lot of people tweet this recently, and I think society's breaking down, where we're simply saying that no form of cheating is unacceptable as long as it's in the pursuit of winning. The whole point of winning is to do it without cheating. Otherwise, it doesn't feel right. If you cheat to win, and do you know what's funny? I was playing darts with my brother the other day. We're playing this game called Bob 27, where you start on 27 points, you got to hit doubles, and if you drop below 0, you're out the game. And me and my brother are messing. There's a couple of times where he's out the room, and I'm like, I could just stick one in a double right now to get extra points. But I don't do it because even though I'd get more points than him and beat him, I know I haven't really won. I want to beat my brother through actually beating my brother. It doesn't feel right. I've done it as a kid. I did this twice, and both times I did it, I felt empty. I played Football Manager, and I get to a Champions League final, and I'd save it before the final, and if I lost, turn the computer off, play it again. I won. And twice I did that. I was only young, and honestly, I didn't celebrate winning it because I cheated. It doesn't feel right. If you've ever cheated to succeed, it has never, ever, ever felt good. And I'm talking in sport here. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if your kids are, someone's going to go mad soon. Yes, if your kids are starving, you've got no money, and you steal some food, I don't expect that to make you feel bad so much as they're eating. But we're not talking about something as extreme as that. We're talking about sports. There's no way you've cheated in sport and you've been happy about it. You can't do unless there's something broken in your brain. And I'm not about you, Lang and Sweet. I know it's only a super chat, but I see a lot of people say these days, you've got to cheat. Cheating is part of winning. It's crazy. How many fake news you bring? I know this story about City is, well, it's not fake. Credible journalist has put this all on the internet, my friend. You can call it fake if you want, but that's just your feelings there, bruv. That's just your feelings. This here says, to be fair, the only team I want to see relegated is my Barcelona. Why? Because I had enough. I had enough because of losing and our money troubles. Why do you want to get relegated, though?
Regulated, she said.
Oh, regulated. Sorry, I thought she said relegated. Sorry.
Debbie's had enough of Barcelona.
Yeah, she wants her own club sanctioned. Afternoon, if City get stripped of all their titles, Henderson will become the greatest Liverpool Premier League captain with their 3 titles, and Mo Salah becomes a GOAT.
I disagree with both takes. I disagree.
Well, no, because then Steven Gerrard gets a Premier League winners medal.
Yes.
So it changes. It changes.
Yes. For me, Gerrard's the GOAT, by the way, for me still. Even above Mo Salah. I put Gerrard
Mo Salah, legend.
Nope. Gerrard's number 1.
You're just bigoted against a person like Mo Salah.
No. Oh, look at this guy. Bigoted. We're the same race.
You don't like him. You're jealous of my Mo. My Mo. I love Mo. I saw everyone slagging him off last night. Like, oh, he ain't this great player. He ain't. I'm like, you lot are so hating on this guy. The hate that Mo Salah gets crazy.
People claim shit that they do not know. First of all, Mo Salah got injured. How are you cooking a player for getting injured? Second of all, as soon as he got injured, there was substituted. Ghana scores. Like, the moment he sits on the bench, Ghana scores. The first thing that happens 2 minutes later is a Ghana goal. And the third thing is, you see people who don't know about certain stuff. If you ask me right now about River Plate and Boca Juniors, I'll say I do not know. Guys, it's okay to say you don't know African football, you don't watch it. This is the weakest Egyptian generation we have seen in a really long time. And yesterday, for people who go like, the Egyptian people are never going to respect Mo Salah, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, I went on TV. You guys don't speak Arabic, most of you. I speak Arabic. I was watching Egyptian TV yesterday, and the guy went on TV and was defending Mo Salah. I can play the clip right now in Arabic. None of you would understand it, but he was defending him. He was like, we actually looked worse when he came off. The only reason they attacked is because they conceded a goal. People don't understand. Egypt are going through serious trouble. Ahmed Higazi is getting cooked as a defender for Al Ittihad in the Saudi League, and he's starting due to politics. El Neni, who doesn't even play a game for Arsenal, starts for Egypt in 2024, and you want to blame Mo Salah?
Where he might be injured. I thought he was Egyptian. I could have got this so wrong. The fullback who plays for Wolves.
Who? El Mohammadi, you mean?
Not Mohammed. It might. I swear
That guy
there's
he retired.
No, I swear there's an Egyptian player that plays for
But
Wolves.
Ait Nouri is not Egyptian.
Is he not? Is he not? Oh
no, Ait Nouri is Algerian, not Egyptian.
I was Algerian. Sorry, yeah, my mistake. I swear I heard someone say he was. You know, sometimes people just say stuff. I thought someone said he was. Fair enough, because I looked at the lineup and didn't see him on the bench. That's why, because he's not Egyptian.
And by the way, last AFCON I said Senegal was going to win it. This AFCON, I think Morocco are stronger than them. Algeria are stronger than them. Senegal are stronger. Not like there's multiple.
Well, you would think with what Morocco did at the World Cup only 12 months ago, they're surely one of the favourites for this year.
Yes, they're the biggest favourite right now in Africa. 100%. They are the favourites, and rightfully so. So look, man, Egypt aren't good enough to win a thing, and it's not his fault. Like it's just people are blaming Salah. It's just so weird, bro. Like the guy got injured and you're blaming him. Have some shame.
Man United and the Premier League and the rest of the clubs are not all innocent. Listen, bro, if you show me evidence of Man United doing these things, you think I've cooked City or gone for other clubs? You wait what I do to my own club. I would be harsher on my own club. It's like if there's 3 children throwing bricks at windows and one of them's my child, I'm going to be so much harder on my child than anybody else's. People, things, or clubs, or anything I love or care about, I'm far more angry. When I worked in banking and the banking scandals came out, I was far more embarrassed, even though some of our wrongdoings weren't as big as other banks, far more embarrassed when the bank I worked for did things. I was far angrier when who I worked for, who represented me, did things wrong. So if I'm a Man United fan and we've done what City's done, I'm going in. I'm going to get to a point where no one is going to let me into Manchester because for my own safety, I'm going to go in on that football club. So, yeah, listen, self-policing is the only way. I wouldn't be a hypocrite about it. I just never have been like that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Premier League asked Barca for evidence of wrongdoings because of Pep.
Imagine Barcelona snitched on Pep Guardiola. That would be the greatest story ever.
Well, they're being investigated too. Literally, all of Pep's greatest achievements could be gone soon. Liverpool are interested in
Coop Miners.
Yes, I know the name when I see it. I just can't read it. Asking price 35 million. I think we are linked with him before. You were linked with him a season or two ago.
I wouldn't take Coop Miners right now. I don't think it's what we really need. I don't think we need an 8. I think Curtis Jones has been playing well this season. Elliott's had multiple good games. Soboslai and McAllister are very good. Endo even has performed well this season. I don't think we need an 8 right now. So, yeah.
There we go. Jim says you're very annoying, but also very likable for a red.
Listen, Jim, there is no Liverpool Spurs rivalry. You get me? Let's not try force a rivalry.
City will be guilty of irregular financial reporting and will receive a 10 to 15 point deduction. Yeah, well, if that's all they're guilty of, then that's all they're guilty of. It is what it is, and I'll say fair enough. If it's irregular reporting and they've not done any cheating, then fair enough.
I hope they get 15-point deduction, though. Please. Win the league.
See, if they got I would like them to get, if they don't kick them out the league, I'd like them to get a sort of 80-point deduction, but it gets issued in stages of 100-point deduction. They get a 25-point deduction every single season for 4 years.
Yes.
That way, they're not going to win the Premier League, but they're still there. Because the one thing you would say, if they go down the levels and they're just going to obliterate every team at that level, which isn't actually fair on those clubs either. So, yeah, it might not be right to put them all the way down either, but it would be great to put them in the Conference North or something. Do you know what I mean? Playing against Accrington Stanley and stuff.
Salford City, let's go. The real Manchester derby.
Lance Armstrong equals Man City. It looks a different type of doping, but essentially
it can. Lance Armstrong is they found out everyone else was on some shit as well with Lance Armstrong. So,
and like I've said, if it turns out every club's doing what City's doing, then I'm less angry with City and it's more of a spread across. But if it turns out it's just City, and the thing is, I don't know if it is every other club. I know it's a big excuse, but it's the other clubs that are pushing for this. Now I know sometimes there's dumb people out there that push for things that they're also doing wrong, but I don't quite know. I'm getting a call from Turkey.
Also, how can you say it's all the other clubs? Have West Ham cheated? Have Brighton cheated? Have Spurs cheated? There are so many clubs that just using my common sense and logic, I tell you, haven't cheated at all. Did Wolves cheat? Did Bournemouth cheat? Like, come on, you guys.
Crazy.
Not everyone cheated. Of course not.
Are Arsenal going to beat Palace this weekend?
Listen, I want to come up here and want to, because obviously Liverpool and Arsenal in a tighter race, I can easily say, oh yeah, Arsenal are going to get the draw, Crystal Palace, blah, blah, blah. But Olise ain't there. I think they'll struggle. Even Jordan Ayew ain't there. I think Arsenal win this game comfortably as well. I don't think there will be any shocks this weekend. I'll be honest with you. I think this weekend we just get the two big clubs winning. Obviously, Liverpool win, Palace win. I think Arsenal win. I think both clubs just win. I really don't see a chance for Crystal Palace. I know Crystal Palace has been like they're solid, and sometimes they do rise to the occasion and stuff like that. But I really just do not give Palace a chance. This Saturday, like maybe 1% chance, but I think Arsenal win the game with ease. To be honest with you, so yeah, that's my honest thoughts on the game. And look, it's time for these players to step up. Obviously, if they can't make signings due to FFP and stuff like that, fair enough. But now Saka needs to step up. Now, the likes of Martinelli and others all need to step up. They need to take it to the next level. So these guys need to start scoring goals if they want to win this league seriously. And I think if Arsenal do lose against Crystal Palace or draw or something like that, then I think all hell is going to break loose in the Arsenal fan base. But I do expect them to win, to be honest with you.
I think they'll win. I think they're going to win well as well. I think that I don't think they've been as bad in their last 7 games as people are making out. That's why I don't understand. I get the Arteta routers, the North Sides, the League Gunners, people that don't like Arteta and don't think he's good. I get them and their frustration during this time because they're just seeing what they believe to be the evidence of what they've believed for 4 years. I understand it. I get it. It's the Arsenal fans that have been fervently behind him, just completely and flagrantly disregarding that and going straight to we're done, we're finished after a bad run of form. But they've actually not, in terms of results, I don't think their performances have been as bad as people have made out. They need to put the ball into the back of the net a little bit more. I know that's easier said than done, but I think they're capable of doing it. They've proven they can do it. Where I agree with you, though, and this is a bold statement, I think if they lose, not draw or win, if they lose to Crystal Palace this weekend, they may not even make the top 4.
Oh, shit. You're going that far.
And the reason I'm saying that is not because they're not good enough to, not because Arteta can't coach a team to play well enough to, not because I suddenly look at them and go, I don't think this Arsenal team is going to be able to handle the toxicity, the anger, the pressure, the negativity that will come from its fan base. I understand, and people say, stop it. I genuinely believe there's 2 things here. Look at Villa and look at Spurs. They can cope with a few defeats. Their fan bases are on cloud 9 right now. There's a feel-good factor. There's a happiness. The same that Arsenal had last year. There was even when it went wrong a little bit, come on, guys, you can do it. Now there is a do it or I'm going to be fuming. And I don't think the Arsenal players and club are ready for that type of pressure to be pushed in that way. You hold the standards, but your actions of how you hold the club to those standards can't be like Real Madrid. And I've thought about this a lot in the last few days. I see it from so many Arsenal fans now. They're in this, well, Real Madrid fans break car windows. Real Madrid fans whistle halfway through a game. Real Madrid fans act this way and look how good Madrid are. Yeah, but that's learned behavior over 100 years. That is essentially, genuinely, that is people say it's just
Madrid
online.
been winning Champions League since the 1950s. You're talking about 50-year culture right here.
More than that, this is a 70, 80-year, best part of a century worth of culture. And some are saying it's only the fans online. It isn't. I hear it in the Emirates Stadium when I'm listening. Arsenal fans have got to get behind this team, even if you're feeling angry, because it's how you're going to move forward. And I gave this example yesterday, and I'll give it again on this show. There's an experiment they did in the States with some monkeys. They got 10 monkeys in a cage, and every time they went up a certain flight of stairs, they sprayed them with water. What started to happen is if any of the monkeys went near those stairs because they put food on top of it, if any monkey went near it, the others would grab him, pull him down, and give him a bit of a beating and say, don't you dare go near those stairs. We don't want to get sprayed with water. Over the course of a year, they one by one removed a monkey and put a fresh monkey in it. And anytime that new monkey went near them stairs to get the food, they dragged the monkey down, give him a little slap, said, you don't go on those stairs. Within a year, there was not one single monkey left in the environment who'd ever been sprayed with water. They had no idea what happens if somebody goes up the stairs. But every time a new monkey came in, they didn't let them walk up the stairs still. It was learned behavior. So you don't need to be a Madrid fan who's experienced every trophy they've won. You don't need to be a player or a manager or a board member who is part of every success the club's had in the last 70, 80 years. But it's learned behavior. Arsenal cannot behave like that towards their team now after 20 years of failure, after 1 year of challenging. They're not ready for it. They're not ready for that type of behavior as of now. It's something you build to. They are still in the phase where they need far more support. They need more carrot than they need stick as of right now. That doesn't mean you relinquish the standards, but how you apply that standard has to be different. So my view is, if they get a terrible result this weekend, as you've already said, I think the toxicity could become so bad, Arsenal fans end up contributing. They're not the sole reason, but contributing to the season really unraveling, because I don't think Spurs and Aston Villa are going anywhere. Spurs and Aston Villa are going to keep winning at a similar rate they're currently winning at. Liverpool ain't dropping off and City ain't dropping off. So if Arsenal don't get out of this rut and their fans don't get behind the players to get them back on course, it is not inexplicable. It is not beyond the realms of possibility that they narrowly miss out on a top 4 position. I don't believe that Spurs are falling away. They didn't fall away when they had the injuries. All their players are coming back. Villa looks set to be in and around this standard all year. So Arsenal players need to step up. The manager has to step up. They have to win this game. But listen, Arsenal fans can do what they want.
I disagree with you is Aston Villa. That's the one I would say.
You think they're going to fall off? You think they're going to fall off?
I think Spurs probably make top 4, but I think Aston Villa fall off 100%. I don't trust Aston Villa's away form. Aston Villa are going to fall off. That's why I think Arsenal, in my opinion, look, I've seen this Aston Villa story before multiple times. I've seen it with Leicester. I've seen it with Everton. I've seen it with West Ham. They end up falling off towards the end because their squads and their starting 11s aren't as good as the other starting 11s and other squads. And then come crunch time, when it's needed for them to win points, they end up dropping points. Now, Unai Emery's done a fantastic job with Aston Villa and stuff like that, but I think Aston Villa probably end up finishing 5th. So I don't think I think Arsenal are set, in my opinion, for the top 4. I think Liverpool, City, Arsenal, and Spurs, for me, these 4 are going to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, look, I get where you're coming from. There's a great comment that came in here that says, Terry, why can you have this energy for Arsenal and Arteta, but not the same for United and Ten Hag? Because the situations are different, my friend. Man United are not in the same situation that Arsenal are in right now. We're not in a title race, which I believe Arsenal can be. I don't see their manager right now falling out with these players and all these problems that are going on. However, where my energy is the same, if Arsenal regress this year based on last season, don't win anything, fail at every obstacle, FA Cup, they're out of, League Cup, go out in the next round of the Champions League, finish 5th, finish 4th, nowhere near the top, then my energy would be identical. And that is, I think the manager should go. I think he's taken them as far as he can. But I can't treat every scenario step by step exactly the same, because everything is different. So that is why. But yeah, as I say, look, the biggest people here are the managers and the players. You need to keep the standards high. You've got to push them and criticize them when you need to. But one thing I keep feeling when I watch Arsenal play, you can feel it coming through the TV screen. The anxiety in the air didn't exist there last season. And I get why, because the expectations have risen. And I get why you feel that way, but bury it. Be supportive. Keep clapping them. They might miss 10 chances. I know you miss. Oh, I'm annoyed, but come on, keep going. They'll do it. They need the encouragement, this team. Now, you don't have to listen to me. You can do whatever you want. But if things keep going the way they are with the fans and the anxiety at the moment, it isn't going to help the team. It's all part and parcel for me. You know, there's a reason why people talk about football heritage and why so often it gets you through big games and big moments. Because the fans, the players, the club have been there. They can handle that pressure. But it's a collective. Real Madrid fans don't get nervous when they're losing quite late in a Champions League knockout game, because they know the team can pull it off. They cheer them on. They don't sit there and go all silent and create this nervous energy that seeps into the team. You've got to develop that over time.
Like against City, when they were 1-0 down and came back towards the end.
Must win for Arsenal, because I'm sick of this insecure fan base. That's also part of it. For 2 weeks, I've been seeing revisionism on Leno, Lacazette, and Maitland-Niles, but that's just it. Manny, do you get my point, Manny? Manny, do you get my point? Some gooners will look at that and go, oh, Terry's being disrespectful. I'm not. I've seen people talk about they should have kept Lacazette, that Leno is a better goalie. That's only if we had someone like a Maitland-Niles in the team now. I've actually
Away
seen
at Anfield, Lacazette missed 2
bro,
one-on-ones and then Liverpool beat them
I'm
4-1.
gonna make you laugh, bro. I've seen Arsenal fans who were at the forefront of the Wenger out movement, who screamed blue murder for Unai Emery to go, who cried for systemic change at the club, state they were in a really good position when Mikel Arteta took over because they'd won some FA Cups and been to some finals. That is how I've seen them revise. That's why I say to you, if this goes wrong this weekend, it could all unravel because more and more are doing it. I'm not making this. I've seen people say they were in a good position when Arteta came in.
No, they were not in a good position.
It's crazy. The lies are crazy. The
By the
lies.
way, Unai Emery, that 3/4 of them praised, had the easiest run to a top 4 finish, bottled the top 4, and then lost to Chelsea in Baku 4-1. So, like, Arteta didn't come into an easy situation, definitely.
Yeah, it's as I say, it's watching it from the outside in. Maybe I'm also reflecting a little bit, projecting, a little bit, because I'm a United fan. We're absolutely in the mud, and they seem angrier than Man United fans. And I'm like, how is this plausible? How is it plausible that you're angrier than me? Imagine if the Prem called to stand the 09 to 11 Barca squad. Pep, not my babies. I don't want to get what you mean.
She was basically saying, imagine they call the Barca players.
Evidence. Yeah. I get you now. How are the teams cook the books? Our owners, FSG, don't spend money.
He's basically responding to the other super chat that said everyone is guilty. He's saying we don't even spend money compared to the thing. And look, Liverpool, FSG out, man. I'm never gonna change my mind on that unless they show me 3 years worth of ambition. This transfer window is prime example, by the way. Currently, this current January transfer window, obviously Klopp, I think, needs 1 or 2 signings to go ahead and win this league. But yeah, I think we probably just do a cup treble this season.
But if they do that, you start naming them communist North London. Now, that isn't what I do. Now, I know you're doing it as a bit of a joke. As I said very clearly, they must criticize still. You weren't good enough today. But you're not good enough today. We need you to improve. We need you. It's very different from, I'm not going to swear, but you're a washed son of a gun, son of the mother, you scumbag, you sending bad DMs. You don't need that. Right now, you don't need that. That isn't going to help you. And this is what I've said before. I think Jurgen Klopp called this out, and he's right. It's sort of when Liverpool brought in psychologists to help the players with the online abuse they were getting, it isn't making us better. So I get you thinking, and this is the irony. Fans go, you haven't got to tell everyone the truth. It doesn't help. Look at what Troy Deeney did. I love it when a man tells the truth. He's sacked now, isn't he? How's that going to help the team? You know what I mean? People come out and say, oh, Jose did the right thing by calling Man United.
What did Troy Deeney do?
He was managing Forest Green Rovers, and he spoke about the players. It was funny to watch. He just ripped into how bad they were and how much has got to change at the club. Because he did it all publicly and on podcasts and stuff, he's lost his job. So even though he's probably right, how is he going to implement those changes that he's noticed now that he's alienating himself and got sacked? And the same people were like, Jose was right about United, yes, but not the way he went about it, because we haven't got better since 2018. So what good has it done my club? You know, and you can slag off an Arsenal player all you want and say, I'm just holding the club to high standards. But what if you're told by professionals that the way you're doing it is making the players perform worse than they are? Surely you don't want that. I don't know. Maybe they do. It's confusing to me. But there we go. If Arsenal don't win against Palace, fire Teta is what Robert People has got to say here.
Hey, Rob, fair enough. If you want Arteta out, if you lose to Palace at home, I hear it. Like, I actually understand.
Listen, 1 win in 8, maybe 8 points at the top of the league. I can understand it. Still in the Champions League, though, so maybe not. And the other question is, who is better out there that's going to improve you, that you could get? I know everyone goes, Simeone, he ain't coming now. Ancelotti's not leaving Real Madrid for you. Zidane's not coming to England. So who is better that Arsenal can get now, in this moment? That's also got to be factored in. Because it's
Terry, you know what it is? You know when all of them are going to turn, or 99% of them are going to turn? Porto. If they get knocked out by Porto, I think they're all going to lose their mind.
And listen, if they end up 12 points off the top by then, and they get knocked out by Porto, then I agree, because the season is over. Then I understand it. Then I get it. But turning now, I don't think it's going to help you. But again, I don't care what you do. It's your club. If it goes wrong, it's no skin off my nose. It doesn't bother me. I just think, again, I just keep hearing from so many gooners, Real Madrid behave like this, though. But you're not Real Madrid. It doesn't make sense to me. It really don't make sense to me. Do you think Liverpool win this weekend against Bournemouth?
Yes. I think we win against Bournemouth. Obviously, life has been very difficult without Mo Salah. I miss you. And I will say Endo to a smaller extent. I will not, because Endo is nowhere near as important to this club than Mo.
You got that one wrong, didn't you? He's actually a really good player, isn't he?
I wouldn't say really good. He's a good player. But look, with Mo, obviously, like, I hope he's good. I saw his injury. Like, I saw him sitting down and stuff, which is a good sign at least. Like, maybe I hope it's not like a serious bad injury or anything like that. But I think this week we have two important games. I think we beat Bournemouth 2-1. Bournemouth are a very good side this season. Massive credit to Iraola. And I think in the Carabao Cup game, we draw against Fulham and go through. So that's what I think happens in both games. And I think with Bournemouth, obviously, Bournemouth away is not really an easy place to go to because of what they've been doing this season, because of, can't believe I'm about to say this, former Liverpool player Dominic Solanke being a threat. But I'm actually kind of worried right now for the Salah injury, because if Mo Salah is out till the end of the season, or he's out till 2 months, 3 months, I think Liverpool are not winning the league regardless of what happens. So we need Mo Salah to win this league title, and I don't think we win it without him. So yeah.
Are you home or away to Bournemouth? Like, listen, this isn't Liverpool stuff. This is just me. I do hope that Arsenal win this weekend and Liverpool lose. And I say that nothing to do with, oh, he's an Arsenal fan. I'm just enjoying this title race. And then the following week, I want City to draw, Arsenal to draw, Liverpool to win. I almost want it. I don't want anyone running away. I'd love to have 4 or 5 teams all in and around 3 or 4 points each. So it's just, because you now look at it, Liverpool top on 45, 5th place Spurs on 40. I'd love there to say 5 points between those 4 teams between now and the end of the season. I know it's unlikely, but that's what I really want. I just want that because that makes every game now biting, exciting, dramatic. It will make you feel like no time can you afford to drop points, even though everybody is. That's what I'd love to see happen. However, there's another part of me that doesn't want you to drop points because I don't know how many City are going to drop and they might run away with it. And I don't want them doing. I keep seeing Man United fans say, I'd much rather see City win it again than Liverpool. And I'm like, you're mad. I'll give you this example. Liverpool winning the league and matching our 20. Liverpool winning the next 3 or 4 in the next few years and being on 22, 23 ahead of us. That bothers me less than a 4-peat. I'll tell you why. It is plausible that we catch you 3 or 4 league titles, maybe not now, but in the years to come, that we catch you and surpass you. It's much easier to achieve that than it is to ever do a 4-peat, because a 4-peat's never been done in the history of football. And the scariest thing, English football in 129 years or whatever it is, the scariest sobering factor that if they do a 4-peat is they're on for a 5-peat if they do a 4-peat. And then you get into the realms of a record, which I don't think any of our clubs will ever achieve. If it's only been done once in 130 odd years, it ain't going to be done twice in our lifetimes, in my opinion.
No team has ever won and done a 4-peat as well. That's why at the start of the season,
exactly. So
listen, if Chelsea were going in a league title against City, I'm backing Chelsea to win.
I want anyone to win it, but now Man United can't win it. Anyone but Man City, because this 4-peat is bad for every single one of us. No football fan at any club in the country should want City to do it, because them achieving that sets a bar so high that probably none of our clubs will ever achieve it. So why would you want any team to achieve something that you're very unlikely to ever achieve? You could be a club with 1 league title. You could get new owners today, and in 20 years be a team competing for the Prem, and over the next 30, 40 years win 20 Premier Leagues and catch Liverpool. You theoretically could do that. That is more likely than another team doing a 4-peat, because that's been done in the history of football, where you catch up league titles. A 4-peat's never been done before. It gets done once, it ain't never happening again. Not happening in our lifetimes. Everyone watching this stream, everyone alive today will be dead the next time a 4-peat happens, if City do it. So yeah, please. And City, I don't even think City will be in a position to do it again, because 3-peats have only been done 4 or 5 times in 130 years. So if you stop this one, it's unlikely they'll do it again. So yeah, man, I don't know. I kind of want you to drop points for the title race, but I'm scared of City winning this title, man. I'm scared of it. Genuinely scared of it.
Same. That's why I don't want them to win it. Listen, if Arsenal end up in the title race with City towards the end, I'll be singing Arsenal songs. Like I'd rather anyone win the league over, except Man United because they're the biggest rival, and that one I think most people understand. But other than that, I'm supporting. I'll be singing Arsenal songs if they were, and it's Arsenal. I'll be singing all that shit. I just need City to not win this league, man, because my club three-peated. Obviously, your club three-peated. Even the Arsenal three-peated. So a four-peat is just a no-no for me. So yeah, I don't give a fuck which fan base is annoying. All this, I'm talking about the institution. So I've had enough, to be honest with you. I've had enough.
I hear you, bro. Look, I want to thank everyone that's tuned in today. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe and make sure you have the bell notifications turned on. Husam, always a pleasure to speak football with you, my friend. All the super chatters, you're amazing. All the viewers, everyone who's hit the like button so far, thank you. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.